For today's conversation, I'm excited to welcome Brighton here, who is a seasoned sales expert, and really to talk about his kind of proven techniques to close grocery sales and really grow your velocity. He's been doing this on the ground, hands-on with Blue Lotus Chai, and has done this before, had previously had his own demo company, and so has been very hands-on in the sales space. Brighton, I'd love for you to just give a quick introduction of yourself as well, and then we'll jump into some questions here.
Great. Well, hi everyone. Happy Friday to you. What a pleasure. Hopefully Mid-Atlantic people are feeling all right. I called some stores today and they're preparing for the worst. Seems in the next day or two it'll hit. So hope everyone's doing good over there. But yeah, I'm Brighton Litjens. Born in Ashland, Oregon. Born and raised. Grew up around healthy food, around conscious people, and I just really loved sharing that with my community. So started at one of the biggest food co-ops in the country, the Ashland Food Co-op. It's a $38 million a year store. Ran the demo program, did events, did community outreach. Loved that. Then branched into demos right out of high school. Graduated at 17. Said, let's do some demos. I went around, handed my card out to all, one or two founder companies that wanted to get their product out there and help them get into stores, and then did demos on the ground, went to events, went to festivals, anything, you name it. So I was doing that at 17. And then throughout the years, kind of worked my way up. Went to Honey Mama's, the chocolate company up in Portland, Oregon. Did national sales for them for about a year. And then just moved down to Eugene, Oregon, where I now do key accounts for Blue Lotus Chai, which is a really wonderful fifth best-selling chai on Amazon, 12-year-old company. We're in about 1,500 stores nationally right now. So growing that a lot, have about 6 people in my sales team that I help train and uplift. And we've been bringing a lot of people on this past year. It's been a great growth time for us. And yeah, I just love it so much. I'm never not doing I'm one thing. This is the first time I've done one thing for a while. I usually had demos on the side, weekends, side work. So this is interesting for me to focus on one job and role, but I love it. Couldn't be happier. And yeah, it's great to be here and talk with you guys.
That's so great to hear, and love all the experience that you've had, and just a couple of years here too. So talk about your day to day in terms of what kind of accounts you're managing, and what does that process look like for you?
Yeah. So, I love getting up really early. I'm a 5 o'clock kind of person. I really hit the phone right away with a lot of outreach to stores. I am doing a lot of still cold calling and prospecting with the larger kind of regional chains. So, for example, this past month, Wegmans conversation, talking with UNFI rep, getting samples of the new incoming buyer at Wegmans. They've shown a lot of interest, putting sales decks together, pitch decks. It's been, but then I still love calling my independent co-ops and making connection. And I kind of go for the bigger ones. I kind of leave the smaller to the other team, but I'm really focused on, cranking out 40, 50 calls a day, and just making any connection I can. And East Coast is great. I mean, I want to get the buyers really early. It's really hard to get them on the phone a lot of the time, but I have them paged. I'm persistent. I make friends with the office manager to make sure, there's a relationship there, and not just, hey, I'm another salesperson calling. I know you get this 20 times a day. So I'm just hitting the phone and doing a lot of kind of managerial stuff with our 1,400 stores.
So I just want to highlight that real quick, because 40 to 50 calls a day sounds like a hell of a lot of phone calls that you're making. How do you plan that? How does that work?
I'd say 25 are prospects, right? And then the other are follow-ups with samples, and then marketing check-ins. So, hey, it's July. Can we maybe I'm kind of going in, and I'm not marketing, but I go in with these strong relationships I have with these stores. I don't want there to be 10 people calling the store and different stories and learning. I like to be the person who makes the contact. So I can just have kind of the key accounts that I manage, such as, let's see, on the West Coast. So Erewhon, Mississippi markets, we have the fresh markets, natural grocers, all stores, Whole Foods, kind of just all those check-ins need to happen pretty regularly. We do something unique at our company where we do chai checks. So we call every single store every month. We're about 6 of us are calling every day and saying, hey, just checking in, how's it going? And they know us now. They know us so well because about 850 of our stores are direct. So it's really important for our direct wholesale accounts to know that we're calling. We don't have a brokerage. So it's us calling, connecting with the stores, upselling SKUs, getting different placement, doing an end cap, things like that.
That is incredible. So lots of info there. One thing I want to pull back on too is how many emails are you sending? I know you're doing like 40 to 50 phone calls. What's been your experience with phone calls versus the emails to these buyers?
It's so easy for a buyer to go, not at this time, please send an email, right? And that's the super easy default. And they don't work. They rarely work. And what I do is so for example, say if I'm reaching out to, this is Yes Organic Market in DC. It's a really beautiful store chain, about 7 locations. June is the buyer. I have probably about 25 emails that I've sent to June this year so far, but everyone is unique and different and curated. I don't like to copy and paste, and I'll bring in the distributor. I'll bring in the distributor and I'll say, all right, Unify York is where they pull. I'm going to bring in the distributor rep and I'm going to get them and say, hey, I have whoever it is attached here. Let us know if you need support. What can we do to make this happen? And then they'll usually respond. I'll send a separate chain and say, hey, haven't heard back from June in a few months. Do you mind doing a quick reach out and going back to that chain and saying, hey, checking in, what can we do? So I try to get them involved as well. That way it's a whole conversation. And then they're in contact with the reps all the time. So it feels not so much as a cold email when you have the support from them. I even include like a grocery at email. If I have that, I want to hit all new vendors at their direct email and then a distributor rep. So I try to hit it all, so it's not just a cold email and it goes maybe to their spam or buried in their thousands of emails. And then with phone calls, I really try to be strategic with a really good time. I don't want to do afternoons or busy lunchtime. I try to be really strategic with my call and make it, if I can get them on the phone, which is 2 out of 10 times can actually happen. But for example, though, yesterday, I left a message on a buyer's for Kowalski's, this chain up in the Midwest, Kowalski's, I think.
I forget how to say it, but yeah.
And they, I left a voicemail, and she sent an email and said, Brighton, got your voicemail. Thank you so much for reaching out. We're reviewing your product tomorrow. We're excited to chat. So the voicemail worked, which was big. And then I followed up with an email with all of the resources. So it's kind of been my approach. I don't do an email and say, oh, I'm going to try again in a month and see what happens. It's like email, phone call, voicemail. I mean, I text with some buyers, we're on texting terms, which is great.
Oh my gosh, so much there. Okay. So let's walk through your phone calls for prospects. So first off, what's your strategy for finding prospects, either like the buyer's information, the store's information? What's your process there?
What I love to do, it's kind of funny, but I go to other natural brands store locator. So I'll go on to, Coconut Bliss or Olipop's website and go to their store locator and see all the stores they're in and a certain area that I want to target for the day. And that usually we have a distributor in. So say we're doing a big push on the East Coast. I will research. I'll just go, all right, here's a list of stores we're not in. And then I'll connect it with our CRM and go, oh, we were in this store, or we sent samples and kind of see the movement with them. But if it's a totally straight cold call and prospect, I see if it's a good fit. First of all, I do a lot of research. I see the demographic, the area. Our product is a little bit higher priced. It's $14.99 for a tin. It's a great value. You get 100 cups, but it's still $15 out of pocket for a customer. So it's that next to your Tazo and your other teas for $5 or $6, got to make sure it's the right fit. I don't want it to sit on the shelf.
What
So
does that right fit look like? And like if you're doing it online, how do you look at a store and determine what's the right fit or not?
so with what's nice is now a lot of the stores have the online ordering, so they have all of their products listed on their website. I'll also go to their sales flyer. I'll go to their sales flyer and check that out for the week, their Facebook, their Instagram, see what their kind of their product offerings are and their price point. So if I see a, you know, Cascadian Farm cereal for $7 because they have a really high markup, I'm like, is this, do I want our product to be on there for $18? I don't know. So it has to be a good fit. And then I do research about the store. I do research about the history, and then just about the actual town itself. And if we're in, 5 other stores right down the road, they might not like that. A lot of stores are like, they want to have the competitive advantage. So I try to get all those details washed out before I make the intro call. I look up how to say their name is a big one. If it's a strange name, I want to make sure I say it correctly and what they go by and
You
their
just like Google
pronouns.
that and like use like their
Exactly.
voice search thing or their voice thing.
100%. Well, it's great because you call and you will call the operator, whoever answers the phone, and then I kind of get some information from them too. So I go, hey, I just wanted to check in who's handling shelf stable grocery. How do you say their name? What's their pronouns? How do you address them? Are they in the store? Kind of just those layers, and then I can go in pretty confident where it's just focused on the pitch and getting the information I want across.
Awesome. So then when you go in, do you usually make just a cold call to the, like you said, to the operator? How often do you have like the buyer's name for a new prospect? Or is that part of the goal of that cold call?
That is part of the goal. Yeah, that's part of the goal of the cold call. With our CRM, since we're a 12-year-old company, we have had a lot of contact with, there's about 7,000 stores in our database that are loaded up with information, with websites, with social, store size, all the notes we can. And we're in, 1,500 of them. So there are a lot already uploaded in our database. So that's nice, but it's, buyers move all the time.
Yeah.
Certain stores too, every few months, a buyer goes to produce and then they go to meat and then they switch around all the time. So I never assume. And it's hard because if you make conversation with one buyer, it can be really great and they're confident, but they're transitioning out of the role. And then you have to start a whole new thing. And you can't trust the new buyer to communicate the information to the upcoming buyer properly. So it's just a game. It's really fun.
I love that. And then what's your process? Like you get the buyer on the phone, they're not really expecting it, right? And like what do you say to them?
It's hard, I really try to be mindful. I am very mindful of their time. I've played with asking them, is now a good time? But I know the answer to that is always going to be no. They're always going to say no, now is not a good time. It's hectic. I'm unloading a truck. I'm dealing with orders, especially during COVID. I mean, they've been understaffed. So it's never a good time. So what I have changed to say, instead of, hey, is now an okay time, they have then the opportunity to go, yeah, no, leave me alone. So I'll go, hey, Jordan, this is Brighton at Blue Lotus Chai. I'd love to take a quick moment to chat with you about our wonderful products and do a quick snippet, just who we are, what we are. Can I just take just a minute of your time? And I got to say, they're pretty receptive. Like, yeah, what's up? Tell me what's going on. I try to get everything I can in elevator pitch, not be overwhelming, just sound bites. Oh, we're seeing great growth in your area. We're a shelf-stable, sugar-free, dairy-free chai, made with all organic spices. I'd love to get you samples. Would you be open to samples? Oh, I love chai. Oh, wow, that's wonderful. Or send an email with everything, and I'll try to send samples. I don't just send cold samples. I really want them to consent to saying, yes, I want to receive samples, then an email, then follow up to the email on a phone call. I can get about 10 stores a month with no samples on the spot sales, which feels good because that means the pitch has been well received, where I can get everything in. They say yes, it's enough information for them, The downside of that is I love them to experience the product and have a connection with it. Because if they're just saying yes and they're going to bring it in, they haven't even seen it. It's like, well, if in 6 months' time there's another product that comes in, I want them to feel connected to our product and our brand. So I don't want it to just be, so I play with that a little bit too. I feel great about a sale on the spot, but I'm also, sometimes it's not great to have that because I want to send samples, have them try it, bring it home to their family. Everyone, loves it. And um, I kind of go back and forth, but yeah, that's kind of my process with the prospect cold call. Yeah.
Awesome. No, I think that's incredibly helpful. And then, for those buyers or stores that don't respond immediately or kind of put you off, how often do they come back and buy, like with follow-ups? And how frequently do you kind of reach out to them? And what kind of information do you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, gosh, this is like the biggest co-op is the Sacramento Natural Foods Co-op. They're really great, just high volume, big store. And I looked back recently, it was 40 emails, about 15 phone calls, about there's a personal cell phone and then his direct line. Never got through, never made a conversation with him. Finally got the assistant. So I asked for the assistant grocery buyer, not the main buyer, and got him really excited about the product, got him samples. Then he said, it wasn't just a random thing then he had it from internally going and saying, hey, Brandon, this Blue Lotus Chai is pretty great. And then he was more receptive on the phone. And emails, I like it because you have all your product sheets, everything you can send for them to review, but it gets very buried. I don't like to do chains either. I like to do a fresh email that's a different header, that's something different. Because if I just respond to the same email chain, it just gets lost and they see it repetition. I don't like that. I want to be, best chai ever, something that captures them. And then very short and sweet. I don't like to do these super long emails.
That's really interesting because sometimes I wanted to try like guilting a buyer, like, hey, here's 5 emails that you didn't respond to, like finally respond to me now. But it's interesting here, like, sometimes that like might make them feel bad, like, oh, I don't want to even reach out to them now.
They might be, exactly, you're right. They might be put off and go, ooh, I don't even want to put time and energy into this, or it's a hard balance. You're right. Yeah, you're right about that.
Awesome. So you're making these sales. Oh, one thing that I thought was interesting is how closely you work with your distributor reps in the area.
Yeah.
Because I bet a lot of founders honestly either don't know who their distributor rep is for those stores or don't have a great relationship with them. So what do you do to build and maintain those relationships?
So we're in 3 unified distribution centers, right? So we're in York, Greenwood, and Richburg. So we're in 3 currently. What I do is I call Unify customer service and I get in contact with the customer service person and I say, hey, I have about 5 stores here that I am looking to prospect. Can you tell me who the rep is for these stores? And all the Unify emails are very much the same. It's like their first initial, their last name @unify.com. So sometimes I can actually just get their names and then do it, but I'll ask them and they're like, yeah, this is great. Oop, hello, bug. So I'll get that. I'll ask Unify for the rep's contact. I also then will make good relationship with each of the distributors reps and I'll go, okay, I'd love a prospect list. Please give me a prospect list. I will work my butt off getting new prospects. Everyone has said yes so far. We haven't paid for them, and everyone has been very, grateful to say, yeah, you can build this up for us. It benefits them, as long as I don't bring it in through another distributor. Is kind of the agreement. And of course, there's non-disclosures you sign and stuff, but if it's with Associated Buyers or Ace Indico on the East Coast, I'm not going to talk about Unify. I'm not going to bring it part of the pitch. I'm going to make it very exclusive. And then I CC them every email from the prospect list or from the conversation. They're CC'd. I really make sure that they're part of the conversation. I really want them to be part of it. I really do. And then equip them with samples, give them information, hop on calls once in a while and say, hey, here's our product, here's our brand. Next time you're in the store, do you mind dropping off a sample to this chain?
That's really great. And what I've often found, because I didn't know this myself, is not understanding how the entire like supply chain work. Like you understand, like there's a distributor, they get the product there, but right, there's like reps they're calling on every store and they're responsible for sales and they have, quotas and things to meet. And so if you can partner with them to help each other and you're adding, they can see that you're working it and not just, wasting their time. A lot of times they are happy to help. I did the same thing with the unified region that we opened in on the West Coast. Is asked like one of the reps, they're like, hey, would you mind sharing who your best like buyers are? And she even gave me a list of their names and info and sent over introductions to some of them as well. Right. And it's like,
Yes,
hey, what a win-win if we can share in that. So that's awesome.
100%.
Ashley has a question. She says, by the time you sent your fifth or sixth email, how are you changing your introduction? I always try to send a new tidbit of info, like new sales data or press, and that's been working to get their intention. But she's also mindful with the buyer who never responds. So she doesn't want to be super annoying.
So this came up about last week. This was for Outpost Food Co-op, which is a Wisconsin co-op for stores. Really nice stores. They only say, what they say is go to be a vendor do the online submission form. That's it. Don't contact us directly. I said, haha, all right, well, I'm not gonna listen to that because I want to really get in there and connect and stand out. So I filled out this form on their website. I went, okay, well, let's see what happens. Waited about 2 weeks, called the corporate office, made really good friends with the office manager. She gave me all the information, said, oh, Ann Vetter and Carrie Rowe are the people that need to contact. Sent, gosh, 18 emails. And I would change it each time, right? Like I said, so I would go, I would talk about our co-op growth. I'll talk about specifically co-ops, and we're in 150 NCG co-ops. Customers love the sustainability of our product. We're really great value. There's no sugar. We're non-GMO verified. We're women-owned, women-founded. So I'd kind of start there on the cold email. And then about a week and a half later, I'd go, the natural or the tea aisle, tea space is down, 0.5% across the board. We're up 17.8%. I'd throw some spins data in there. I'd throw some kind of, sales. Yeah, I get more get the sales going. And then I'd go, what can we do to make this happen? Let me offer you a 50% off discount. Here's what we can do to support marketing assets, giveaways, promotions, you name it. I was laying out everything we could do. All right, that's about 30 email now. I'm like, well, not each one kind of hits a different, point for them. And I was like, well, all right, let's keep going. So then I'd call back and I'd say, hey, they're like, oh, actually, maybe include this person on the chain just to get. So I'd have about 3 or 4 people now that I'd sending the email to in corporate. Hopefully it catches someone. And about 5 months later, I got a response yesterday from the apothecary buyer who buys us what we're under. And she's very open to samples. She's excited. And then she said in the email, it's great that you have 12 years of a strong customer base and that your growth, like she went onto her store and looked at our store locator and she saw all the stores we were in her area. And she loved that. So it kind of depends you don't know what the buyer's going to respond to. If they might not care. They might not care about something that you think is important. So it's tricky, especially a cold email. You don't know what's going to catch for them.
I love that story.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I was talking to someone else recently as well who was pitching to a buyer. They actually had a jerky brand and they were pitching to a buyer that like was vegetarian or vegan. They were just in charge of the whole grocery set. And so it wasn't specifically like meat products. And so like, how do you pitch to that buyer that like doesn't like chai?
You make it really easy for them. So I ask if they have family members that like chai or if there's coworkers that like chai. And I say, hey, can I send you some samples and you can hand it out and then hear feedback? I gotta say, most buyers do that anyway, especially for larger stores. They're not sitting there trying every single product. They cannot do that. They get tired of it. So they really it's important for them to hear feedback from other employees. So there's going to be someone that raves about it, goes, this is amazing. I've never had a chai like this. This is so great. And then I get really numbers with the buyer. If they're not really passionate about the product, I make them passionate about our sales and what we are and what we will do for them on the shelf and what we're going to move for them and how we're going to. That's my approach. If they're like, yeah, I'm not a chai person, I don't really drink it. I go, okay, well, let's start you off with our top 3 bestsellers. We know that there are top 3. I'll offer a really nice discount. I'll put the turnover in for you. You don't have to do anything. I make it so easy where the only thing they can really say is yes, because I set everything else up for them. And other people love our products so much, especially if I say like there's a customer that reached out, which happens all the time. They say, hey, reach out to the store. That's almost a deal breaker. Right? They go, yes, of course. Oh, the customer wants it. Yeah, bring it in.
I want to dive into that a little bit deeper too. So, Ashley, thanks for your question. If anyone else has questions as you're listening in, feel free to jump into the chat and list those in, and I will ask those to Brighton. So you mentioned like having customers requesting kind of your product for the stores. Have you set up like a formal way to do that or encourage that with your customers?
When I was at Honey Mama's, we used the We Stock service, which is wonderful. I don't know if you guys are all familiar with that, but really wonderful service. It's basically it's part of the store locator, and it's like at the very bottom it says can't find, want to see your product in a store near you. Do super quick Google Docs like submission form, name, email, where's what store, and I think it's that simple. And then it gets sent to us, and then we go, oh, this is a great warm lead. That was awesome. I haven't implemented that yet at Blue Lotus, but at Honey Mama's it was really great. And then that day I'd call the store and I'd go, hey, there's a store in rural Maine that they want to see our product. We had a customer reach out. I start with that right off the bat. I go, Brian, hey, Brighton and Blue Lotus, we had a customer actually, who travels, 30 miles to find our product. Or even Amazon. I'll mention Amazon and say, hey, they've been buying it online, and you could get this customer to come in your store and buy our product at your store without going to the next one or buying online. That's a huge advantage for the store.
Do they, I was always curious about that. So WeStock is awesome. I know the team there. If anyone's interested, we have a 25% off discount for WeStock as well. So
nice.
Jump on that as a cool team and share with you too. Have you ever heard buyers like not believe it if it's pitched from the brand? When you say like, hey, a customer is interested, because theoretically anyone could just say that. Like, do they put more weight behind it when like an actual customer goes into the store, do you think?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think there's just the trust. I mean, that's the thing. It's hard. I mean, they trust you a lot. I mean, if you say that, they're thinking, oh, well, why didn't they come to us and request it? They reach out directly. It's like, are you just doing that as like a leverage piece here? Which I have not. I mean, it's always been genuine. The only guerrilla marketing that I've really done is like there's some stores in Portland, Maine that I really want to get us into. It's a great demographic for us, and I'll like get my friends to go in who live in Portland, Maine, and say, hey, do you mind? I'm going to get you some samples. Do you mind going in there and requesting the product? Like over and over and over. And then that way my over and over and over is like, oh, right. Oh, wait, we actually had a customer reach. So that's been a little bit of my guerrilla approach to like faking a customer request.
Yeah.
But
yeah, and I think there's like, online, sometimes we'll get a lot of people are asking like, hey, when are you going to sell in this store? Because there's a lot of people that still don't like buying products online. Like my mom's one of them. I don't know why. She's like, she has me buy things on Amazon for her, even though she can perfectly do it herself. But she's like, doesn't like doing it. And so she'd rather buy things in the store. And so, yeah, I've gotten outreach too. And I try to tell people like, hey, like here's, maybe you've even done like, flyers before that we'll send to customers and be like, hey, can you like take this into the store and just ask to speak to the manager or someone or customer service and like hand that to them. yeah, those kind of things, I think can work because, I've even seen like just having literally one person ask about the product can initiate a buyer to like bring it in.
100%. It's hard now too with, with the last year and a half with phone calls. I mean, that's the only phone call and emails. Buyers are working remote, a lot of them. They're not in the store at all times. So it's cat and mouse. I mean, you're trying to chase down these buyers. It can be challenging. But in a way, there's an advantage because if they go to a trade show or if they're traveling a lot, they're getting bombarded by so much. So in a way, I've actually had great experience. Almost every buyer now that I've reached out to has at least responded or at least said yes to samples or yes to a review. June is a huge review month for our category, I think for a lot of categories, but especially for the tea set going into fall. Um, I've had a lot of yeses for June, big stores. I mean, Wegmans, we had Gelson's, some really nice sized chains. And they finally said, okay, it took 3 or 4 months just to get an answer from them. But once it was yes, it was like off the races. What do we need? I give them everything super quick where it's so easy. And because I want to, that's sacred time. I want to really be mindful of that time and get everything I can across, but not be overwhelming. Sound bites, just quick, really feel like they're supported where there's not a loss for them. It's only going to benefit.
And then, I know you mentioned you go to direct with a large number of your stores. Do you get reorders through do you have a portal, like a wholesale portal that they reorder from, or is it through those like monthly calls that you're doing?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a mixture of both. So with our, you know, more regional chains, it's all POs that get put in with their, usually ECRS or their different systems that are automatic, auto order. But with the chai checks, we have 6 full-time people calling the stores. We have a chai check system for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. So that's selected in our CRM, and our higher volume store get a 30-day chai check. So our store's doing 20 grand, 30 grand a year in sales. They're getting a monthly check-in, and they are the ones who they expect us to call. No one is really not into us calling. We don't really get a lot of like, I am not, please stop calling. They love it because I go, Frank, you were remodeling your kitchen 2 weeks ago. How did that turn out? How was that? Oh, you were on vacation with the kids kayaking in Glacier. Was that a nice time? That's what it is. And then it's, do you mind checking the shelf for me and seeing? And every time they check the shelf, they don't just, oh, I can't look right now. They'll go to the shelf, sometimes with the phone. You hear the tins clinking, and they go, oh yeah, we're getting a little low on this SKU. I'd love an order. Um, it's great. And then we put the order in. I'll send them a t-shirt. I'll send them some swag. Um, I have a lot of buyers that put stickers on their back of their car, like 5 buyers that love our product so much. They're, super passionate about it. And they love when we call every month. We do our check-in and say, how's everything going? Ooh, this SKU isn't moving super well. Oh, let's run a nice promo on it. Can we do an end cap? What can I do? Can we get you some little like, shelf talkers? What do we need to do?
No, I think that's huge. And I can tell you, like, so many brands that I talk with, like, don't do that at all. And we even, for some of like our top stores, we would do like check-ins and go into the store. But for like, maybe there's a random store that reached out, a small independent, and it was challenging with everything else to like call and keep up with them. But like you said, it takes 6 full-time people to do it. It doesn't have to start there, right? You like build it up with the momentum, but like that's how you get free placements, right? You can get like
Yeah,
free off-shelf
yeah.
placements. They're like, yeah, we'll put you out here, or like just other ways of increasing your sales and your sell-through and your velocity. So absolutely love that.
Well, and I think it's really important to call indirect stores too. I think it's really crucial to call all of your distributor accounts because I'm not going to rely on our distributors to call all of the stores. They have so many products to represent. Um, and there's a lot of misses. Distributors can miss a lot of stuff. So especially promo months when we do promos with distributors, I call a lot of stores that say, oh, I didn't know there was a promo going on. The distributor didn't communicate that with me. Our rep didn't let us know. Um, so that's my job to go in and go, oh yeah, no, we're actually 25% off this month. The buy-in date was yesterday, and that thoroughness is just really important. Oh, we're actually out. We've been out for a week and a half. Oh, let me get with the rep. Let me put a turnover in. Let me make sure it comes on your next order. Follow up, make sure the turnover got received. Call the store, make sure it's on shelf. I mean, those maintenance calls are so important. Um, I focus a lot on new sales and new growth, but it's really important to focus on the stores that you think are well taken care of, but you don't want to have them discontinue your product or put you at a lower shelf or not think about you. So that constant reminder of, oh yeah, Blue Lotus Chai, right, got it. Okay. Anything you can do. And every call is so valuable. You can glean a lot of information. Oh, we have a July member drive, or we have a event coming up that's our 50th anniversary. Oh, can we send some samples and some product for you to sample out at your event? Oh my gosh, we would love that. Okay, how many samples do you think you need? Oh, 200? All right, let's support you. So no matter what, I try to find something um, where they're not just, oh, thanks for the call. Oh yeah, we don't need anything. Thanks. It's take it to another level. It's service.
That's amazing. Mark has a question. He says, with your approach, I'm curious to know if you might have an estimate for your average timeline from initial contact to getting the product on shelf, and then with independents versus like a regional retailer.
Yeah. So with regional retailers, I mean, the review period, they pretty much stick to that. I've had a few that have made exceptions where, like Gelson's, for example, that's 27 stores in Southern California, and they're a plug and play store. So they're, all right, come on in, whenever we see fit, we can put you right in. Wegmans, who is currently reviewing our product and getting pretty close to getting a answer, February, March is their review period. So I try to, let's see, for example, with Wegmans, this was December that I reached out to Krista Specht, who's the UNFI rep for Wegmans, through LinkedIn, messaged her. She asked for an email, sent 4 emails before I got a response, asked for a pitch deck. This was since December, and we're still doing the back and forth, but everything is out there now, and that took what, 6 months. So it can take a lot of time and a lot of back and forth and a lot of no responses. I get buyers too all the time, regional buyers that go, yes, we're interested, yes, samples. They respond right away to emails, and then the follow-up is really, really difficult. They forget about it. They don't actually try it. So I try to be really persistent, and I don't want it to be too long of a time before, because then they'll forget about it and not really remember it, and they'll move on. So I try to be not too pushy, but I try to be at that nice balance where it's like still fresh. I don't like it to go months down the road of them getting samples. And no. I like it to be almost immediately after, just to get at least a response. And if it's no, it's okay, or not at this time. And then I'll follow up in 4 months. If they say no now, I'll give them a call in mid-September and go, it's a great time for tea. This is our busiest time. Let's restart the conversation. That's been my approach.
Does your call strategy vary based on season or time of year?
Our product is year round. I mean, at Honey Mama's, it was interesting because our product was frozen. It would be sent frozen, and it was very, very expensive to ship in the summer. So we would actually be kind of mindful not to call too many direct stores and get a huge, because it was hard to ship frozen chocolate that melts. It's coconut oil based, so it's melted 72 degrees. So that was a tricky one. And we would kind of be like, oh, let's not do a big push for summer. But at Blue Lotus, I mean, our product is great iced. You can use it in recipes. So I use those angles to go, we are year round, but customers are not shopping the tea aisle as much this time of year. People aren't craving warm tea. So, you're shopping the cooler more. Those do better. So it's hard. Then I'll go, oh, can you put us by the registers? Can you put us, on an end cap? Can you, I try to angle it where maybe out of the tea aisle a little bit and move somewhere else where we're getting different exposure.
No, that's good. Yeah, I know it's tough for so many brands that we work with as well. Shipping frozen or chocolate products in the summer is it's just a pain because you don't want like a bad product to show up. They probably won't give you a second chance. They'll always have that.
Exactly. Well, we did that at Honey Mama's. We got into Trader Joe's, and it was a big deal. We got into Trader Joe's. This was basically, let's see, I joined in September of 2019, and we launched with Trader Joe's in maybe March or April. All stores, 456, I think it was at the time. Um, exclusive 2 SKUs. We did a coffee and nibs, but we got to keep our label, which was so big that we got to keep the Honey Mama's label. And then we had a $1.99 price point. So really nice price point. We did so much to get this account. And there was just 1 or 2 small mistakes. They cut us after 4 months. All stores, just cold, not just no warning or anything. There was some just QA issues, like bars were open when they arrived, and it melts so they can get stuck to the just small things. And they're super cutthroat. They said, sorry, we're not giving you another chance. And then Earth Fare closed all their stores like a month later, the 100 and whatever. So we lost that. So it was like this whole thing at once where we put all our eggs in a basket, and we got pretty screwed. And they've come back. What they did now is they just took those same size 1.7 ounce SKUs, and then just now they were selling that to stores, and said, sorry, Trader Joe's. But yeah, it was an interesting experience, that's for sure.
Oh my goodness, yeah. 2 other things I want to hit on before we're done. Time's like going fast. I want to talk about marketing and promos. So when you are pitching to a store and they're saying like, yeah, I think we're going to bring this in, or what's your approach to free fills, to BOGOs, to like getting on the shelf or in promotions there?
So it's going to sound crazy, but I have never once done a free fill for any stores because I'm a really good negotiator, and I really it's almost just so easy for a store to go, yes, free fill, and then they won't order the product again. I want them to be half and half partners with us. I want them to be really dedicated to our product. I'll tell you, I start with 25% off. And the reason I do that, I want them to love the product. I want them to love us as a company, that we're small or independent. I want us to love that and connect. And then the discount's a little extra flair. And I go, hey, 25% off. Love to do that. And they go, 25% off, really? And I go, and I'm careful. I'm not easy to go, okay, well, I try to say, well, let's be strategic. What do we need to do? And then I'll go up to 50 and split it. I'll do a 50% off intro discount. And I gotta say, every store says yes, just about. They never say, oh yeah, no way. That one, I only do free fills. It's tricky because a lot of buyers are so used to brands going, okay, whatever you need, free fill, free fill. Especially with the distributor too. I mean, you're giving the distributor the percentage, and then it costs a lot of money to free fill your way onto store shelves. The 30 or so I get a month, 25, 50% is the scale that I'll go. Larger stores get 50. If it's a high volume, who did I get? Drager's Market down in the Bay Area. Really nice high-end specialty grocery. 50% off. They loved it. We offer our tins and cases of 6. They're buying 3. We're paying for 3. It's a win-win. But to answer your question about marketing and promos, during the pandemic, we pivoted from our in-person demos to virtual demos. And we offered this to stores, especially larger stores with large following. We would make curated demos for the stores. So we'd have someone sit there and we'd go, hey, I'm Brighton at Blue Lotus Chai. A minute-long video. Our products are now available at Fresh Market. We have these varieties available. It's so easy to make. Hot water soluble. Add a 1/4 teaspoon. dissolves instantly. Add your sweetener and milk. We're Blue Lotus Chai out of Eugene, Oregon. Boom, boom, boom. Super simple, super quick, curated. They post that on their social media. They were getting thousands of views. We saw a lot of growth with just one video. We'd follow up maybe in a few months with a recipe, where we do a recipe video for them, or a giveaway, or both. We do a fun giveaway where, hey, here's a fun giveaway we're doing. Those were very successful. And I tell stores that I'll say, we'll support you with different marketing assets that that you can feel good about. Let's run a BOGO. Sure. Yeah. Let's get it on your news flyer. I laid everything out so they felt supported.
I love that. Yeah. I realize like most brands don't take advantage of a retailer's like own social. They might talk about like posting about it on the brand social, but usually I don't see many partnerships with like the retailer social. Are they like usually pretty open to that, or is it guarded?
Yeah, I mean, the grocery buyer doesn't manage the social usually. So I will always make the sale. I usually make the sale and then I go, thank you so much, the great opportunity. Is there a good marketing contact at your store that I can reach out to and send an email over to? Um, then they most often say yes. Oh yeah, it's marketing at, oh yeah, Josie handles marketing. Great. I'll send a fresh email. I'll copy the grocery buyer just so they know I'm on top of it. I'll do a quick intro and then I'll have our marketing team follow up and give them all the resources. I don't like to say, hey, marketing, go reach out and give them stuff. Because I just created the sale and this connection. And I can be totally in the loop with all the different layers.
Oh, that's great. And then
Yeah.
one challenge that I see is that once people get on the shelf, right, for that initial order, like how do you sell that initial case once it's on the shelf? Have you found any like promos, or do you always have stores do like a BOGO or discount to start that you recommend? Like what's the good formula, especially for those like new stores that have never carried you?
We have 14 SKUs total. So we have 6 tin varieties, 6 of our pouches. Then we have a masala chai collection, which is a curated collection of all of our pouches. So yes, we have 14 SKUs. If I'm calling Ozark, Natural Foods, and they're, in Arkansas, I got to be really strategic and really make sure that, okay, maybe it's a little bit lower price point item. Maybe it's our $5.99 retail and we do it 20% off. So it makes it, a really nice deal for this customer where they're not taking a risk. And then right away, right when it hits shelf, I really want to set them up with in-store signage, with an announcement, getting in their newsletter. Anything we can do to say, now announcing, here we are, let the customer know to go in and grab it, instantly add it to our store locator. So when a customer is looking for Blue Lotus in their area, they see it in the store. And then, I think less is more with discounts. I think with a current customer that we've been selling to for years, I think $1 off is great. I think, and I don't want customers to get price fatigued and have constant sales all year. I see a lot of brands where it's like always on sale and it's not as special anymore, and ours is more of a specialty item and a little bit higher price point. So if it's $14.99 and we get it down to $12.99, that's great. And it's like twice a year, customers know that sale at that store, Erewhon has it at that sale. Whoa, they'll go, they'll get it, they love it. But if we're doing like, if we're doing quarterly promotions with the distributor and then we have a separate, promotions with the stores, it can get kind of crazy. They can double up and then they're not sometimes passing on the promos, to customers. So I think, if we just did, gosh, I always ask the store if they can meet us in the middle and they can pass it on, especially if it's an intro. I don't want them to just take all the margin and go, yeah, here's your 50%, enjoy it. It's, do you mind throwing our product, drive growth and get product moving for you?
And it never hurts to ask, and a lot of them will take you up on that. I even was able to do that with Whole Foods too, right? So like some of the bigger
Yeah.
accounts will do so as well.
Yeah.
Okay, this is all like extremely valuable info. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about hiring a good sales team, right? So you have some people that are working underneath you, and what do you look for in hiring good salespeople to join, a smaller team?
I think you have expectations of what you want and you have your job summary, but everyone has their own strengths and you don't really realize it till they're a month or two in, where you go, ooh, you're really good at this. You're really good at the details. You're really good at going in and noticing these small things and cleaning up our CRM and making sure that, all the information is correct, making sure all of the turnovers are placed correctly, making sure, going through sales reports, making sure those are all accurate. And that's someone has strengths in that, but you think, oh, I'm hiring a person to, do 50 calls a day and prospect. That might change, that might change. And I think it's important to elevate each of your salespeople and go, this is your strength. I'm going to put more of this towards you and not load them up with tasks of, hey, do you mind? Like for me, I don't like the detail stuff. I don't like doing spreadsheets. I don't like putting together pitch decks. I like being out there, being really excited about the product and making these big connections with these larger stores. That's where I thrive. So I think it's just important to pick, people that I don't like people that is like, oh, I've never tried your brand. I don't like it. I want people to be like, I am obsessed. It's all I do. It's all because I want them to come through to the buyer. I want them to really feel that our team this is our everything. Like I drink it twice a day. Because if you go on store with the buyer and they're like, oh, what's your favorite? Yeah, you can be a good salesperson and kind of BS it, but I want them to I've been drinking it for 10 years. This is what I do. I love mine with oat milk and honey. And I want them to be so passionate about the product where everything else can be trainable, but I want them to love the product. I want them to be really good at talking to people. Um, and just have a nice voice. Just have a nice, like, it's pleasant. They're pleasant to listen to. They're mindful. Um, I don't want them to be too salesy but then, like you said in the beginning, too much sales and too much, um, like, oh, hey, let's hang out and talk and have a nice conversation. Yes, but there's a balance. So I listen in. I mean, we have with remote, everyone's remote right now still, and everyone lives in all different parts of the country. Um, so, I like to listen in from time to time and go, let's hear your pitch. I want you to, prospect this store. And I'll give you a few things I think maybe you can improve on, but that's it. I mean, I think it's important to have the trust thing and you just go, I like you as a person. You're passionate about the product and, here's the template of our product and our standards. Go out there and kick some butt.
I love that. And then when you like, how do you know when someone's a good fit kind of in the job or if they're not doing a great job? Like, are you looking for like a certain number of sales coming in or quotas, or do what are some of like those metrics?
It's hard. I mean, like, I'm hard on myself. I really am doing my 50 calls a day, getting my certain number of stores a month. I have to hit those marks for myself. The company doesn't have necessarily. They're fine either way, but um, some of the reps are doing 4 or 5 calls a day in their 8-hour day, and they take a lot of time and energy to. It's hard. It's hard, and it's like, well, just because they're not doing as many doesn't mean it's not as valuable. Maybe they had a great 15-minute conversation and worked out a really awesome, upsell opportunity. And just because you're cranking out calls doesn't necessarily mean it's more valuable. So it's hard. I've gone back and forth. Like I watched the perform, with our CRM, it's really easy to track the numbers and the performance and all that stuff. And it's hard. I mean, they can make their 10 calls and get 4 new stores a month. Yes, quality over quantity, but sometimes it's like, come on, guys, where's the fire? And we're not commission based. So, I've had most of my other jobs were all commission. So you hit that certain mark and you got the commission. I go back and forth. I think commission can be really beneficial in a lot of ways. But it's also nice not to have the pressure and to take the ease off. And I think maybe customers feel that, where you're not getting an email every other day and saying, I got to make the sale in my month and meet my quota. That's stressful. You don't want to have that come through to the buyer. Hey, just checking in. Is now a good time to chat? That comes off so much better. And it's like, oh, not at this time. All right. Is there anything else? One last thing, but it's not this whole intense, I have to meet my numbers this month. So that's what's nice about working for, smaller independent company is same as Honey Mamas. We were the same way. It was like, send cases of product to people and get them excited, make them smile. That's a win right there. You didn't get a store. All right. Well, you got someone really excited about the product that tells someone, it's all going to work out. The ROI, it's hard to track the direct. It's like a sale comes in so many different ways.
I love that perspective. And I mean, you've lived it and have been, you're currently doing it, right? You're like making calls every day and realize that everyone has a slightly different strategy. So yeah, I think that's important. A lot of founders struggle because, right, like as the founder's usually the most passionate about any product that they're selling. And it's tough to find someone to take over some of those sales or help out in that process because, at the beginning, it's hard to find someone that's a good fit, but you ultimately need to if your company's going to grow beyond you.
100%. Yeah, I love that.
Awesome, Brian. Well, we are at the end of time here. This is so much fun, and I really appreciate all the detail kind of thoughts and experiences that you shared. Lots of great kind of kudos in the chat here, but really appreciate it. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to connect you with Brighton if you have any follow-up questions. But have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, and we will chat soon. Thank you.
Awesome, y'all. Thanks again, Jordan. Appreciate you. Take care, guys.